the good word. Welcome to the Higher Call, the Christian sports fan podcast. I'm your host, Dan Satterfield. God is good all the time, my friends. Go Lake Nona Lions, go Seas, go Bees, go Pats, go Sox, and go Cougs. Throwing it over the wall to my co-host, Bill Ellis today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, Dan. I'm glad to be here, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Higher Call, the podcast where faith and fandom meet. Please hit the subscribe and or like button on whatever platform you're listening to. Leave us a comment and review also. And you can also hit us up on our email, highercallpod@gmail.com, just like the podcast name, highercallpod@gmail.com. So, Bill, I was at work today. And I walked into the men's restroom, right? You've been in those before.
Yeah, been one
And
of them.
and a guy was washing his hands, right? So that's
Oh, that's a
normal,
good
right?
thing. Yeah.
Yes. So he's washing his hands, and then so I go to my urinal, right? And I'm doing my thing, and then the guy proceeds to go to the urinal. So just to recap, he washed his hands, and then he went to the urinal.
Oh, a double washer.
I'm like, I gotta get out of here. This guy's weird. This guy's out of order. And it
I don't
was
know.
work.
I'm a fan. You wash before and you wash after. I like it.
Oh, okay. So like
I
cat
think we should
style.
normalize
Okay.
that. I think we should normalize that.
Like you're supposed to take a shower before you go in the pool, and no one does that. You ever see
Yeah.
those
I mean,
signs?
you clean up before you grab your stuff. I like it.
Yeah. All right. All right. Well, yeah. Maybe we could start something then. And it was work too. So I thought to myself, I'm like, I could introduce myself, and like I could like riff here and be like, so I noticed that you, but I didn't do that.
Glad you didn't
Uh,
do that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to the agenda. Today we're going to talk about Bill's ministry journey. We're going to talk about Christian sports culture, and then we are previewing the NFC South today.
Go
Bill is a Bucks
Bucks.
fan, and so Bill will be doing Bucks schedule predictions. We'll do some over/unders on win totals, and then we're actually going to do a deep dive into Bill's father figure coaching ministry, which is one of our sponsors, and so we'll be doing a deep dive into that. So really exciting, a lot to get to, a little amount of time to do it. So let's just get right into it. Bill, can you tell us a little bit about your history in ministry?
Sure. So I actually started in ministry right here in Orlando. It's great to be back. So when I was in college, I started out at Valencia College. I was a student body president there, and that's where I was reached out to. Became a Christian when I was 20 years old and went into the ministry that same year. And so ministry took us all over the world. In 1994, I moved down to Guatemala. That's where I met my wife. We got married in 96. Then we moved together to El Salvador in 1997. Again, we moved in 1998 to Costa Rica and then back to Guatemala in 2000. And so from 2000 to 2008, we were in Guatemala City. And then from 2008 to 2018, we were in Chicago. And so all of that time, we were leading churches, mostly in Spanish, but it was a great time doing that. And then in 2018, we moved back for me, but moved my wife and our daughter. We moved to Orlando, so back close to home. It's great to be home. Love Orlando, love Florida. It's a great place to be, and it puts me close to the Bucks, which that makes me happy.
That's awesome. And how did you learn Spanish so quickly?
So in 1994, I was asked, I think on a joke, to be part of a mission team to Guatemala. They asked me if I'd be willing to go down for 6 months and help with the church planning. There were 11 of us on the team. I was the only one who didn't speak Spanish. And
Wow.
so I think I was sent for comic relief, but as it turns out, I spent more time down there than anyone else on the team. So immersion, I was there. It took about 4 months to learn Spanish, and it's been 30 something years since, and we're still perfecting the Spanish, but we're working on it.
Oh, you have a great reputation amongst amongst the Spanish ministry as a native like speaker. So I think you're being a little modest there. But all right, cool. And can you talk a little bit about being a Bucks fan? So when did you become a Tampa Bay Bucks fan?
So really, it happened kind of on a bet with my dad. So the first time I ever went to a professional NFL game, I was about 12 years old, and we went down to the old Bucks Stadium, not the new, not the Raymond James, but the old Bucks Stadium, and the Bucks were playing the New York Jets. And so my family's from South Florida,
Mhm.
and my dad's a diehard Miami Dolphins fan. But I told him, I said, if the Bucks beat the Jets, I'm going to be a Bucks fan, which was
Nice.
which was crazy. I didn't know it at the time because I was 12, but the Bucks had never beaten the Jets, and it would be 11 years before they beat them again. And and so that day, uh, you know, the Bucks actually scored 41 points, which was the highest points total they had ever scored up until that time. So it was pretty cool to see that. It was. Let me think about it for a second. It was a minute, but I remember Steve DeBerg
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
was the quarterback, and he threw he threw 3 touchdowns that day. And
Oh
and I
wow.
remember at the end of the game, because it was the Bucks scored 41 points, and they let the Jets actually score at the end because James Wilder was chasing a rushing record, and so that actually came back to hurt us because the Jets were so ticked off about it that the next year they beat us 62-28. So,
Oh wow. Wow.
uh, it's crazy because it was an unlikely win for the Bucks. Uh, it was also Leroy Selman's last game, and Leroy Selman, defensive tackle, was the first Hall of Famer for the Bucks. And so, kind of cool because their next Hall of Famer was also a defensive tackle, Warren Sapp. And Warren and I went to high school together, and we actually uh, played football together
Nice.
our
Yeah.
entire high school career. So my Bucks fandom was bookmarked by a couple of Hall of Famers. But it was a lot of decades of suffering. That's the one thing. If you are a Bucks fan, I mean, it's great. We have 2 Super Bowls, but there's been
Yes.
a lot of suffering in between. It's kind of a feast or famine type of team. So
Yeah, the Gruden Bowl and Brady
yeah, yeah,
are the
yeah,
two
yeah,
there,
yeah, yeah.
and I'll never forget that Super Bowl was really interesting because it was like Leonard Fournette just decided to be awesome the right game. It was
Yes,
just like that was like his best game ever. I was like, oh my gosh, he was catching out of the backfield, he was doing all kinds of stuff, and then Gronk and yeah, they took it. That's awesome that Brady got another one there. So let me ask you this, just kind of big picture. Um, we started this podcast for Christian sports fans. You've been both a long time, and especially from a minister's perspective, you've been a minister for a long time, and then also you've been a sports fan for a long time. How do you kind of see, the interaction there between kind of Christian sports fans, specifically who are men, since that's kind of your focus, obviously. How have you kind of seen that amongst Christian men, and kind of your feelings there?
well, I think men, we need an outlet for some of that competitive pressure. So I think sports is a good place for that. It allows for some healthy banter and jarring. So I like people to be fans without that fandom taking the place of Christ. I think
Yeah.
you know there was a time when we had an afternoon service on Sundays, and I always worried about uh, about whether or not I was going to have good attendance during football season, which that it's good to challenge our faith sometimes, right? And see if there's something, if we have idols above God. But I love the fact that we're on the East Coast, and and church and football do not intertwine very often right now, so it's a good thing.
Yeah, I think you have a unique perspective too, because you've served in ministry outside of the United States, and so I'm curious, um, whether it's Guatemala or another country you served in, what's kind of the sports fan Christian culture like out there? Any good stories from that time?
I think it is. Outside of the U.S., it's soccer, it's football,
Yeah. Yep.
and I do think sometimes for men, football, in especially when we're in Latin America, really became an idol, and
Hmm.
and some of the guys really had challenges giving up their Sunday morning leagues, or even just not going to watch soccer on the weekends in order to make a space for living out their Christian life and community. So I do think I love sports. I've played sports my whole life. I've been a sports fan my whole life, but I do think sometimes as men we can get hyper fixated on spectating, and be less present in the things we need to be present in. And I as I think sports give an opportunity for both of those things, right? They give you an outlet for competition. They give you an outlet for energy expenditure, but they can also be sports can also become an idol, and it can be one of the main challenges to our faith, or even the concept of just being a spectator, because one of the things I see a lot of times with men, especially, is they're not as active. They're present, but they're not engaged. So it's
Yeah.
kind of like being in the stadium, right? I was there and I saw the things happen, but I didn't really have any impact on what was happening. And I do think that's one of the things where I tell people, I'd rather be in the game than watch the game. I actually didn't watch a lot of sports when I was growing up. I played a lot of sports. I didn't watch a lot of sports, and it wasn't until your knees start cracking and things start hurting that I actually got into watching sports um, with more intention, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. Um, all right. This next question is kind of a lighter one, but have you ever had a game that was so meaningful that it affected your local congregation? So like if you were in Chicago and the Bears were in the Super Bowl, and the next they lost, and the next week like the whole place is just kind of, oh yeah, kind of down today. Have you ever seen that in any of your
oh,
ministry?
oh yeah, Chicago was a classic example because the Bears, to be honest, since '85 have been bad. So I've seen my friends in Chicago just long suffer with the Bears, and baseball, you've got two teams, and if one's not playing well, you know the other one might be playing well. The Cubs are happy losers. I'm a Cubs fan, and we
Yeah.
we never really expect to win anything, but there's a good vibe, right? And
Right.
so, uh, and you know, everyone's a Bulls fan, everyone's a Bears fan, and then the Blackhawks have been good, right? So hockey season, the city's happy. Uh, Basketball season and football season, at least the 10 years I was there, were not happy seasons, and it does tend to affect uh, kind of the attitude of certain people. I think men especially, you get really invested in a
Yeah.
team, and and then you feel like your fandom actually has more impact on the field than it does, and there's a real emotional investment. And so I've seen friends go despondent over overtime losses, and I'm like, oh, come on, you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I do think there's some truth to that. You know, I I think part of it's escapism. We'd like to live vicariously through our heroes or our sports teams, and
Yeah,
sometimes we wish we had more victories in our own personal life, and so that's one of the places we look for those victories, right? And
right.
I think that can be, uh, but I think it's also it's a way to learn how to be able to emotionally regulate yourself as well, and get worked up in the right ways and not get worked up in the ways that aren't right. So
Yeah. Yeah, some of the I wrote down some examples. They were all Boston. When I was lived in Rhode Island, the Patriots, when I was in high school, they went to their first Super Bowl in a long time, only their second in their history. They were playing the Packers, uh, Drew Bledsoe and Bill Parcells, and um, yeah, we were all so much looking forward to the game. We were all going to our friend Garrett's house. The whole team ministry was, and there was just so much buildup, right? Like just all day,
yeah.
just looking forward to it and all that, and then we lost by like double digits, and then the next Sunday, I mean, it was just very just kind of that whole week was kind of a downer because like kind of like you said with the Cubs, like there was a time definitely where it's like we were just not good for a long time. The Patriots were. People forget about that, but yeah. And all right, well, let me ask you this one. So, okay, now I'm going to give you a really specific situation, and let's go to American churches, okay? So you get a phone call, Bill, from from a member of our sister church in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? And hey Bill, I'm so and
Uh-huh.
so. Let's call him John. I'm John. I'm moving down to Orlando with my family. We get that a lot. People move to Orlando a lot, and I'd like to meet with you. And so you say, of course, oh yes, let's go to Panera. Let's do the sip club thing, and we'll have a coffee at Panera. The guy says, great. So John walks in, and you're sitting there, right? Like impressions are being made here. You're meeting this person for the first time. You don't know a lot about him. He walks in. He's got a big old Carolina Panthers jersey on and a big old Carolina Panthers hat. And in the first 5 minutes of talking, he's like, yeah, I'm just really looking forward to the game. And I mean, this was basically us, except I was probably wearing Houston Cougars stuff. So anyway, basically talking about me. But in the back of your head, right? Like what's your good, neutral, bad? Like what's kind of your impression versus if this guy was just a quote unquote like normal guy?
uh I actually like watching sports with people who are fans of other teams. I like the chippiness that can be there. It
Yeah.
speaks to me, so I'd probably embrace that. um
Okay.
I I think, you know, especially us bad teams, we need as many fans as we can get, right? So uh, more power to the Carolina Panthers. I mean, good for them. I mean, I wasn't happy last season. I mean, they if we lost a tiebreaker to them, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think they need fans. So, I'm good with that.
Cool. Nice. Yeah. Yeah. And I tried to use in the example. I tried to use a more kind of neutral team, someone that folks don't, not a polarizing team like the Yankees or Lakers or anything. But awesome. Okay, so we are going to move into our next NFC South area, and so into our NFC South segment. But first of all, we would like to thank our sponsors. We're going to start with All Too Traveled. If you're dreaming about your next getaway, don't forget to follow All Too Traveled on TikTok. Destinations and practical travel tips. It's a great follow for anyone with a little blank space. That's All Too Traveled on TikTok. We'd also like to thank Father Figure Framework. If you're over 40 and running on fumes, check out Bill Ellis and the Father Figure Framework. Simple, faith grounded habits for strength, energy, and leadership at home. Learn more at Billellis.coach. And so we're going to go into the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. First of all, in the NFC South. So starting quarterback is Baker Mayfield. Head coach is Todd Bowles. They definitely have some, both of those are coming back from last year. Last year's record was 8-9, and looking like overall they are the favorite in the division. How are you seeing the Bucs this year?
Well, I think we are the best team in the division. Uh, I think there's a lot. we had a lot going for us early last year, and things fell apart at the second half of the season. But I do think the Bucks have the strongest team in the division. There's a couple things. Uh, Baker Mayfield's on a contract year, so this is the final year of his $100 million 3-year contract. So I think he'll play with a chip on his shoulder this year. I think that's going to be a good thing. He stated that if they don't get it if they don't get it done by camp, then he's going to push it off to the end of the season. I think he doesn't want contract to be a distraction. I don't think it'll be a distraction to the team. I actually think he's going to play with a chip on his shoulder, wanting to prove himself. Now, I do think if he has a great year, it's going to be expensive if we don't get him signed uh, before the season starts.
Yeah.
So, he's set to earn $40 million this year, which that places him only as the 16th highest paid quarterback, uh, and I think that also speaks to who Baker is as a person. But I think Jason Licht wants it done. I think Baker wants it done. Uh, I think the team moves and revolves around Baker Mayfield, so I'm not expecting a holdout. So I think we're in for a good year from Baker. I do think there were some things over the off season. I think we lost Mike Evans. That was a
Yeah.
big hit.
Yeah.
We offered him more money than he took for the 49ers, and so that stung a little. Franchise leader in yards, catches, TDs, but we have a great wide receiver room. I think we have some young guys, and we have Godwin coming back. McMillan has Johnson's healthy now. Egbuka looked like a possible rookie of the year last year at one point. So I feel good about our quarterback room. I like what the defense had added over the offseason. So I think that's good. Challenges, new offensive coordinator. This will be the third offensive coordinator in 3 years with Bulls. So I do think that's that's a little bit of a tough thing for Baker Mayfield, but I think it's going to be okay. I think arguably still the strongest roster in the division. I think Carolina, they're the defending champs. This is Canales' third year, but their defense got a lot better in 2025, and they had some good signings over the break. So you got, I actually think they're the team that probably improved the most in the offseason through the draft, uh, inside the inside the locker room. Now I do think Atlanta, with they fired Raheem Morris and hired Kevin Stefanski, and I think that was a great hire, which makes Atlanta a dangerous team. But I don't think they have the I I think they've got too much in their quarterback room to figure out. You've got Michael Penix, who injured his knee, ACL tear, and then you have Tua,
Yeah.
who Miami's paying for. So why not take a chance on him?
Right.
But uh, I don't think they have the quarterback room to really make a big difference. But I think Atlanta made a good hire with their coach. So we'll see what happens there. It is interesting that Stefanski was Baker's coach in Cleveland. So I do think there will be a little bit of a ruffling of feathers in that game and those games. But and New Orleans, I don't know that you can't sleep on New Orleans. I don't know. I think that's the thing. I think for me, our biggest challenge is I think it's a make it or break it year for Todd Bowles.
Hmm.
Um, he's 35-33 in 4 seasons.
Right.
Now he's won 3 NFC South titles, but he's only won one playoff game.
Right.
And we've actually, it's been a 3-year slide, and his first year we won the wild card. The next year we lost the wild card. Now we missed the playoffs altogether. So I don't know. I mean, last year we started 6-2, and then only won two
Yeah.
of the last 7 games. So
Right. Yeah.
you know, I think what'll happen in the coach's seat, we'll know by Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Tampa has a history. The guy who builds the team doesn't tend to get to win the big game with the team. So we'll
Hmm.
see if Todd Bowles, works it out and can actually become the guy that wins the big game with the team that he put together. So I'd like to see him do it. I think defensively he can't complain. He's got all the pieces now. He's got all
Okay.
the pieces on offense. He's got all the pieces on defense. And he is, he as the defensive coordinator, he did stop Patrick Mahomes when Patrick Mahomes was impossible to stop, right? Kansas City a few years ago was not the Kansas City of last year, and it was Todd Bowles' defense that really stifled KC. And so I think if he can put it together, it can be good. So I do think
Nice.
it's going to be a great year.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be in the NFC South, where middle of the road teams
Little
can
easier.
do
Yeah.
can do
It is.
extraordinary things.
Yeah. 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 I get you. So yeah, let me. The Baker Mayfield situation is interesting because I mean, you think about a team like the Vikings, right? They had, they had Kirk Cousins. He was doing well, and they kind of like, yes, you're doing well and all that, but you're just kind of old, and you're not like our prototypical guy. Do you hope that Baker Mayfield stays for like 3 more seasons, or are you okay if he does kind of one and done, even if he does well next year?
Oh, I like Baker. I like his fire. I think he's good for the team. I think he's good for the locker room. I'd like him to stay. And I think he has everything you need to become a franchise quarterback. I could see him building a full career in Tampa.
Nice. Okay.
I think the team rallies behind him. I think he's tough as nails. I mean, even last year, he played through a lot of really difficult injury, and so he had a lot. There was a lot of criticism, but you never know what's happening inside the locker room, inside the training room, and later on it comes out that he was working through some pretty serious injuries. So I think I I would like to see Baker stay.
Nice.
I think he's a good fit for our team.
Do you think his growth was stunted early in his career because he got drafted by the Browns? And
100%.
yeah,
Yeah,
like he would have
100%.
been fine if it was like any other team, the Browns or the
Yeah,
Jets. Yeah,
uh, I have an uncle who's a Browns fan. He's from Cleveland. You gotta love him.
right,
You know
right.
that.
Yeah,
So, but no, yeah, I think getting drafted to the Browns did not help him, and then just really bouncing around and not finding a place to develop and to really learn. Uh, learn an offense and work with an offense. So, um, I think he has his team in Tampa, and I think he has good tools, and I think there's good chemistry. So I really think that the team is Baker's to do with it what he can. So
nice.
if you know,
All
I
right.
hope that's true. They didn't call me to
Awesome.
ask.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. If they did, yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting if they did. But the let's start with well, let's round up the NFC South discussion with win totals. So I'm going to tell you the win total that Hard Rock has, and you tell me whether you think these folks are going to go over or under. This is for entertainment purposes only. Okay. So no one out there be doing anything, with your hard-earned money. But this is for sports banter only. So we're gonna start at the bottom, and yeah, I'll just tell you the wins. You tell me over or under. The Atlanta Falcons, their win total. Remember, 17 games.
Yep.
17 games. They play 17. So Atlanta Falcons, their win total is 6.5.
I'm going to say under.
Under. Okay. Yeah. I probably would too. Carolina Panthers, their win total is 7.5.
I'm going to say over.
I would too. New Orleans Saints, their win total is 7.5.
I think they're going to have a hard time getting to that. I'm going to say under.
I do too, and that might be the best value out of these. That's yeah. I don't know why they're above Carolina. And then finally, the Bucks. Their win total is 8.5.
I'm going to say they go over.
Yeah,
I have them
someone
winning
has to.
10. Yeah, I have them winning 10 games this year.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, a lot of parity there. I mean, just two, a separation of 2 games, and so as far as the one that's the lowest and the highest, so
Yeah.
really interesting. So the NFC South should be an interesting watch this season.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to transition again and kind of take us through the Bucs schedule here, and so you could just say win or loss for all 17 of their games, and we'll get through it. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, week 1 at the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow home in September, hard opener. I'm going to say we lose that one.
All right. I appreciate the not being a homer. Versus the Cleveland Browns. So the Cleveland Browns come down to Tampa.
That's our home opener. That's Baker's revenge game against a team that drafted him. Cleveland is sorting 3 quarterbacks. Baker's going to be motivated. He's going to kick butt. We win that game.
Nice. And then you stay at home for the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. They don't have a quarterback defined either. I think we protect the house. I think we beat the Vikings.
Nice. And home again for the Green Bay Packers.
All right. This is my gutsy pick because Green Bay is good, but they're kicking off at 1 p.m. in Tampa in early October. I think we get
Good
points
point.
for the Heat. I think we sweep the homestand. I think we win all 3 of those games.
All right. There will be air conditioning in Jerry World on Thursday, October 8th. When you go there, how do you see that one?
Short week, prime time in Dallas. Yeah, I think there's 4 problems there that we only have answers for 2. I think we lose to Dallas.
Okay. See, I would almost say you win in Dallas. I need to start respecting the Cowboys more. I don't. I haven't in years. Whatever. But
Yeah,
okay.
well, they can surprise you. Usually they surprise you for bad, but they are a good team. They just
Yeah.
find ways to lose games.
Yeah. So back home, regular Sunday, 1 p.m. against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, this is Mike McCarthy's first Pittsburgh team. I don't think they've figured it out yet in
Yeah.
October.
Yeah.
So I think we have to win this game. I think we win this game. I'm glad we're seeing the Steelers early and not later because I think they'll figure things out. But I think in October we beat them.
Nice. And then we get into divisional play at the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, first division game in Charlotte against the champs. They're going to treat it like a title defense. I think we lose in Carolina. I think we play to split the series with Carolina.
Okay.
Move on.
That's fair. And then back home, not a long trip for the Atlanta Falcons.
Stefanski against his old quarterback. Baker wins.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't put. He's going to have a chip. He's going to want to win that game. I think we beat Atlanta.
All right. There's a lot of chatter about this team that you play next on a Sunday night, and you have to go up there to play the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Chicago won its division. Soldier Field in November. That is no place for a Florida team. I think we lose and we limp into our bye week.
All right. And then you go, gosh, you stay up north after 2 weeks to play the Detroit Lions.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm grateful for when we got the bye. I think everyone gets healed up, but then we have the gauntlet of the rest of the season. And I think week 11, I think that's the hardest game on our schedule. Detroit at Ford Field. And I think we lose, and I think that puts
Okay.
us at 5-5 for the year right there.
Okay. All right. And then your return game on a Monday night with the Carolina Panthers.
All right, we're home this time. Uh, the team that took our crown. I think we win this game, and then we control our own destiny through the rest of the year.
Nice. And I just noticed this too. I was looking this up before in the analytics. You don't travel a lot. For you're not going overseas. You're
No,
not going to the West Coast at all.
nope.
You go north, and that's it. Yeah. So yeah, pretty good travel schedule there.
Yeah,
There,
not
I mean,
bad.
they're not, yeah, a lot of international games this year. So yeah, I just did one. The Niners, they play in Mexico and they play in Australia. They play in both this year. Crazy.
Oh wow, that doesn't sound fun.
Yeah. All right. So the LA Chargers in Tampa.
I think our momentum carries over from beating Carolina. Um, I think the pass rush that we rebuilt over the off season earns its money against a good quarterback. I think we beat the Chargers.
Nice. And then at the Baltimore Ravens.
Lamar Jackson, December, Baltimore. I'm a man of faith, but I am not a man of fantasy. I think we lose that game.
Nice. You believe in Jackson, Lamar Jackson's kind of agelessness? Like you don't think this is the year he breaks down?
You know what? I don't. He is he is built a little different, and I think he's going to answer some of his naysayers. I think he's going to have a good year this year.
All right.
Um, the Ravens are a tough team.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. All right, in Tampa, the New Orleans Saints.
December, division football at home. This is where Baker wins his contract money. You got to win that game.
Yeah. And more division at the Atlanta Falcons.
I think this is where Atlanta kind of their messed up quarterback room catches up to them. I think I'd be I'd be surprised if Tua is still healthy by then. So I think the Bucks clinch a playoff spot week 16 against Atlanta. I think that's where we sign our ticket to the playoffs.
Nice. And two more games here. In Tampa versus the Los Angeles Rams.
I think the Rams are probably the Super Bowl favorite.
Yep. Miles Garrett.
So
They're
so I
already
think that
good.
yeah, I think this is our best chance at a monster upset, but the honest pick is a loss.
Nice. And then at the New Orleans Saints.
I think we win the finale in New Orleans. I think we finish 5-1 in the division and take the crown back. Yeah, I
Nice.
think.
Nice. It's funny. I like I said, I interviewed a Niners fan recently for the NFC West, and same thing, 10-7. So
No,
it's kind of a safe bet there for a good team in kind of the class of the league, the class of division.
yeah, yeah. I think that's realistic. I think that's going to be kind of how we shake out. Um, I think if you look at the schedule, weeks 11 through 14 are tough. Right after the bye, we can end, Detroit, Carolina, and then the Chargers, then Baltimore. I think, we survived that 2-2. I think we're in good shape for the season.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Bill. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to go back to our spiritual discussion and
Yeah.
talk a little bit about father figure framework, um, and just kind of pick your brain about this here. What made you want to start this father figure framework?
So I think my own story is the reason. Uh, I was an athlete my whole life, but then we started having kids in our late 20s. Our and as we started having kids, you know how it is. Kids buy McDonald's. they didn't finish their food. I'm
Oh
finishing their
wow. Yes.
fries. I'm finishing their nuggets. I'm eating an extra burger. By the time I'm in my mid 30s, I'm probably 20 pounds overweight. And then kind of every decade, I was just picking up you know, a few pounds a year and really got myself way out of sorts. I
Hmm.
remember about 5 years ago, I was weighing 265 pounds. To give you an idea, I'm 5'9". So realistically, I should weigh around 180 pounds. And so I got down, I got up to 265 pounds, and it was really a guy in our Bible study. Him and his wife during COVID, they lost about 70 pounds. And so one day we met at a Panera, right? And we were outside in the Panera
Of course you
because
did.
we're all, yeah, we did. And you weren't allowed to meet inside of restaurants, so we were outside in our camping chairs, sitting in the parking lot talking. And I'm like, dude, what did you do? And so he shared a nutrition program with me. I did that same nutrition program. I ended up losing 90 pounds. Um, and
Wow.
and then started coaching. But then last year I really decided I needed to do something for men, because what I've seen, even in the 5 years that I've been working as a nutrition coach and a habit transformation coach, is that men are hard. They're hard to encourage to do a program, right? Because men always know what to do. The
Hmm.
problem is we don't always do the things we know to do. And so I started seeing that in my own life, and then in the lives of those around me, there was a need for accountability. There was a need for structure. I thrive when there's structure. When I don't have to think about what I'm going to do and I just know what I'm going to do, I do better. And so that was the genesis of the father figure framework. It was, teaching men that if we it's time to just ditch the joke of, oh, I've got a dad bod, right? The belly is just part of the running joke, and really embracing uh to become the men that God created us to be, so that we can lead ourselves, we can lead our families, we can lead our wives, we can be uh, healthy enough to be engaged in the activities that we do. For me, it was, I wanted to eventually, our kids are now all adults, and so I want to, when we have grandchildren, I want to be able to run around and be part of my grandkids' lives, and I just didn't have the energy. You know, I if I left my phone downstairs and remembered it at bedtime, oh man, my phone's downstairs and it's not charging. I was like, man, it's going to live downstairs, because I'm not going down and up the stairs again. I just was too
Wow.
exhausted,
Wow.
too heavy, couldn't do it. And I said, that's not right, because we're going to have grandkids, and I want to, if they play sports, I want to be able to run with them. I want to be able to do the things that they want to do. I want to be an engaged grandparent, right? And so felt like I missed a lot of those opportunities. Well, I didn't miss them. I just didn't enjoy them. With my own kids, I mean, we ran I ran half marathons while I was
Hmm.
40 to 50 pounds overweight. We ran 5Ks with the kids overweight. So I didn't allow it to stop me from being engaged with my kids. I just didn't enjoy the things I was doing because I was so heavy. And so I want men to enjoy being engaged with their kids, their grandkids, with their spouses. And it really starts with respecting the temple that God gave us. And really reflecting him, because when we talk about the father figure, yes, it's we should be better fathers, but the father figure we're truly talking about is God. He's our father, and he created us in his image, so we should want to present ourselves in his image. And so that's a lot of what started it. And I do think, men sometimes require a little more coaxing
Hmm.
to surrender. I don't think
Hmm.
surrender comes easy to men. I think
Right.
I think we tend to want to pretend like we've got it all figured out, that we can do it ourselves. And so, but what I have seen is once we get a man to that point of surrender, they're all in, and the results are incredible. And so that's what I love. I love seeing people have breakthroughs, and obviously in their health. I'm passionate about it because I saw the breakthroughs in my own health. But really in every aspect of life, some of the coaching I do is the majority of it is on health and wellness, but also
Mhm.
on human flourishing and habit transformation, and just love seeing men have incredible breakthroughs and say, hey, I didn't think I could ever change this. And when they do, it's like, wow.
Awesome. And you and I both live in Orlando, Florida. Do you offer this virtually also?
Yeah. I have clients all over the country, and
Okay.
through phone calls, Zoom calls, and I've just recently started branching out into Latin America as well, and doing some programs in Spanish. So
Oh, that's
it's
awesome.
yeah, it's a lot of fun to be able to connect and do, and it really is a passion, just to be able to help people change. It really
Yeah.
is. It's like because I was just talking to a guy this morning actually, and he's like, man, I haven't been able to change this area of my life for so long. And I'm like, yeah, you can do it. You just have to you have to stack the little wins, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes we like like sometimes we want to envision the final product, and that's what kills us a lot of times, because we feel like, oh, I can't have those six-pack abs. Well, to be honest, most of us won't have in our 50s won't have six-pack abs. I mean, you have to have less than 12% body fat uh, to have visible abs. But that doesn't mean you can't be an incredibly healthy person.
Hmm.
But a lot of times we feel like, and our health and wellness culture is for men is very much like that. It's like you've got either the dad bod or the gym bro, and there's nothing for just regular guys, right?
Right.
How do I be a regular, active, healthy male? And
Yeah.
and so that's the space I'm in. You know, I'm not trying to create a gym culture of, hey, let's get jacked, and no, functional fitness. Let's be able to carry everything we have to carry, be flexible enough to get up off the floor, and really enjoy life. And that's the space. And I don't think there's a lot of guys in that space. You go through
Right.
social media and you're like, man, I I don't I don't have 6 hours a day to spend in the gym to look like that guy.
Right.
And a lot of the health advice comes from 20-year-olds that have never been overweight. They don't know what a sore back feels like.
Mhm.
They don't creak when they get out of bed. Their knees don't bark when they go up the stairs. I'm like, no, I need. It's funny, but the last time I had my last personal trainer, they gave me a 20-year-old, like a 23-year-old guy, and I'm like, so I went back to the desk and I'm like, hey, who's the oldest person you have as a personal trainer? And they came back, and the 63-year-old woman came back, and I said, all right, I'll work with you, because you understand what it's like to go through life, and man, this is hard.
Yeah.
So I think I
Nice.
think I think we need more more situations like that, where it's, hey, it's just regular guy fitness.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Awesome. And if people are interested and kind of resounding with what you're saying, and are interested in learning more, what's a good way to get in touch with you?
best way is my website, Billellis.coach. uh, that has all my contact information. It has coaching all my coaching programs, including the same program that I used uh, to lose the weight that I lost, as well as my standalone coaching, and it has all my contact information. So Billellis.coach. That's probably the best way to get a hold of me. Uh, you know, I'm
Awesome.
sure if they reach out to the podcast, you could
Yes.
you could get them in touch with me as well. But yeah,
Yes.
that website's probably the best place.
Awesome. Thanks. And really thanks for that. And folks, I can tell you, just as a good friend of Bill's, the guy practices what he preaches. He's the real deal. I've seen him with his family and with in his life. And like I said, there's very, very few people that he's on a short list of people that are really great to follow. And like I said, that really he's the real deal. He practices what he preaches. So I know I already said that, but it is true. So definitely, there's a reason why we read his ad every episode. We really believe in him, and hope it all goes well with that, Bill.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
And so as we close, we're going to ask you. We're asking everyone this. Okay, I have two questions though. All right, first one is this. 'Cause I have to ask everyone this. I don't like the Chiefs. Okay, so is Patrick Mahomes getting old? Are the Chiefs going to be good this year? Are they going to can they be like one and done in the playoffs, or you think they're going to go farther? You think the Chiefs are back this year or not?
I don't think they're back. I don't think they were there last
Yes.
year.
Yes.
And I don't know how Patrick Mahomes is going to be
That's
after
right. Yeah.
a serious knee injury. So it's the jury's still out, but I don't think they have the team right now.
Yeah.
I like Andy Reid, but he's the only thing in Kansas City I like.
Yeah.
So if
Yeah.
I cheer for the coach, good for him. I think he should do my program, but I like a guy that knows himself and says, I'm going to win and I'm going to celebrate with a triple cheeseburger. Amen. The guy knows what he likes. So I'm a fan of Andy Reid, but the Chiefs are not it.
All right. And and I think it all started when Taylor and Travis didn't invite me to their wedding, and it's all gone downhill from there. All right. So last question. We got the Super Bowl. Okay. So I want your AFC champion, your NFC champion, and your Super Bowl winner.
Oh, wow. Okay. Man, I'm just trying to get to wild card game here.
It's summer in Orlando.
So, all right, good question. I think the Chargers are my favorite for the Super Bowl. I think they're going to be hard to beat.
Okay.
Yeah. NFC. I'm gonna go. I hate to be that guy, but I'm gonna go Tampa. We're gonna surprise everybody. We're gonna eke
Okay.
into the playoffs and make a run for that third ring.
Bill, again, we really appreciate it, and I'm going to go into the outro reel. But again, just thanks so much, and appreciate you being on the pod.
No, man, great to be here. Thanks.
As we wrap up today, remember this: whether you're playing, coaching, cheering, or even officiating, every person on that field is made in the image of God. Yes, even the referees, even the bad ones, like the second half of that Florida Gators game with the Houston Cougars. That's an example of the bad referees. Anyway, thanks again to our sponsors, All Too Traveled on TikTok and Father Figure Coaching with Bill Ellis, for supporting the Higher Call. If you've enjoyed today's conversation, we'd really appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with another sports fan. One more plug, Billellis.coach, Billellis.coach. Thanks again to our guest host, Bill. Please email us at any time, highercallpod@gmail.com. Until next time, keep your eyes on the game, keep your heart on God, and thanks for listening to the Higher Call.